Here now with more. Ranking member of the committee, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, you might want to explain what that actually means to people so they understand.
Well, sure. The federal government every year gives millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars across the country, hundreds of millions of dollars to airports all across the country. Chicago O'Hare Airport gets tens of millions of dollars. And what is the Democrat mayor doing there? He is housing illegal aliens in the airport. He is trying to use the federal funds that are given to run an airport, that are given so people can fly in and out of Chicago, fly all over the world. Instead, he's using those funds to essentially pay for housing for his sanctuary city. And under the terms of the federal grants, the money is supposed to go to keeping the airport available for the public, not to be housing illegal aliens. And so I brought together a group of Republicans in the Senate Commerce Committee demanding answers from the mayor of Chicago in terms of why he is abusing and misusing federal funds to defend his policy of sanctuary city.
Yeah, well, they're doing the same thing at Logan Airport. So This weekend, you were on one of the Sunday shows. I don't remember what show you were on. You gave an interview, and in the interview you said it's being floated that whatever compromise deal would be made in the U.S. Senate, which is different than the House bill. H.R. 2 is a good bill. H.R. 2
excellent bill.
Is a bill that would really stop illegal immigration. And all the Senate really needs to do is adopt what they already passed in the House. It would be that simple. But you're not the only one that has said this to me privately, that, in fact, they were floating trial balloons. Well, yeah, but they might allow just a certain number of people, maybe even up to 5,000 illegal immigrants a day. You were chastised by your fellow Republican Senator Langford, and I'm like, okay, he's right. The language has not been written. Nobody has a chance to read it. We don't know what's in their bill. All we do know is it's not H.R. 2. Why would we expect it to be better if it's going to be a compromise bill with Schumer and Biden?
Right. Look, in a perfect world, Congress would pass strong legislation that forces Biden to secure the border right now. As you pointed out, the House of Representatives, the Republicans stood strong. They passed H.R. 2. It is a strong border security bill. I introduced H.R. 2 in the Senate. I'm the lead sponsor in the Senate of H.R. 2. If we wanted to actually do something to secure the border, that's what we would do. Unfortunately, this bill that's being discussed in the Senate, it's not H.R. 2, because Chuck Schumer and the Democrats said, no, we don't want to do that. That would actually work, so that's off the table. And instead, Republican leadership in the Senate is pushing a deal that would not secure the border. It normalizes 5,000 people a day coming illegally into this country. Now, to give you a sense, 5,000 people a day is over 1.8 million illegal immigrants a year. That's about 6 million people during Joe Biden's presidency. He, in fact, has allowed 9.6 million in. So I don't understand Republicans saying our position is we'll take 2/3 of the invasion that Biden's allowed. We're okay with that. That doesn't make any sense to me. And so my view, this Senate deal is a bad deal. I've made this case repeatedly to my Republican colleagues. The Speaker of the House has been unequivocal. This bill will not pass. It's dead on arrival in the House. And I said to my colleagues, all right, if it's not going to pass the House, what the hell are we doing? Why are we giving Democrats an excuse? Because you know what Chuck Schumer's doing? You know what Joe Biden's doing? You know what every Democrat running for reelection is doing? They're saying, well, gosh, we would have secured the border, but the Republicans won't pass our bogus bill that does nothing to secure the border. That is just dumb. It's political malpractice. We ought to fight to really secure the border. And I'll tell you, Sean, how we do that. We do that by beating Joe Biden in November, by electing Donald Trump again as president. And Donald Trump, I worked hand in hand with Trump. We secured the border in 2020, and we'll do it again. But Joe Biden has no interest in doing that.
By the way, and then I see that you're up for re-election. And I read, is it true, George Soros is pouring all of this money into your state, targeting you and every Republican in Texas in the hopes of turning Texas blue? Is that all true?
Sean, that is exactly right. Chuck Schumer has made clear I am his #1 target in the country. George Soros, the news broke last week, is pouring millions into the state of Texas trying to beat me. The Democrats are going to spend over $100 million. In my last reelection, I won by less than 3 points. We had a poll come out just 2 weeks ago that showed this as a 2-point race. And so, look, I want to tell your viewers, if you want to see Texas standing strong, fighting to secure the border, fighting against this disaster from Washington, I want to encourage people, go to tedcruz.org. Go to tedcruz.org, make a contribution, give $25, $50, $100. We are facing $100 million on the other side. We're facing Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden and George Soros, and they want to take me out because if they flip Texas, the country's gone. And so I want to encourage folks, go to tedcruz.org and stand together to fight to take our country back.
And 6 years ago, at this time, you might remember, the world didn't quite know how nuts that Beto Bozo O'Rourke was. They found out later. But anyway, you've been fighting hard for the people of Texas, for securing our borders, and have been one of the few reliable conservative voices in the Senate. Thank you, Senator. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.